all go into a team, whether it's 5 people or 500 people, and we do surveys to figure out where everybody is. What's the state of the state for AI in your company? And we're finding it's all over the place. And it's significant because you'll see people in the same role. Maybe you have a sales team. They're all doing the same thing. And one person is a little bit afraid to use AI. They've heard some things. They don't like it. It's something that it's not on their radar. They've been successful in the past without it, and they don't feel like they need it. Meanwhile, their colleague with the same job has created AI agents that are doing most of the work for her, and she's doubling her sales. And then you'll see someone in the middle who's kind of messing around with it, and they're not doing well because they're distracted, building things that aren't working. They don't have the training to do it the right way. So we're seeing this big divide on teams of who's adopted it and who hasn't, and then who's been trained on it to use it the right way. So it's kind of a mess right now is what I'm seeing.
Welcome back to Between Fires and Futures. I'm your host, Tonya Terrell. And AI budgets are getting approved fast right now, but a lot of IT leaders are quietly noticing something, that the ROI isn't showing up the way everyone expected. And it's not because the tools aren't good, it's because adoption is the hard part. So if your teams don't use AI in real workflows or to address the biggest constraints in your business, it doesn't matter how powerful the tech is. Buying AI doesn't create ROI, adoption does. So today we're talking about the human side of AI transformation, the tech leader playbook for getting teams to actually use AI. My guest today is Robyn Anderson, and Robyn has over 20 years of experience leading sales and marketing-driven growth and digital transformation. She built and ran a successful web development company, scaled teams, and spent 2 decades watching what actually works when organizations adopt new technology and what fails every time. Today, she runs Jam AI, where she delivers keynotes, workshops, and hands-on training focused on one thing, helping leaders and teams cut through the noise and build real AI adoption habits that drive measurable business outcomes. This episode is called Your AI ROI Lives and Dies on Adoption. Robyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. What a great intro.
I am so excited to get into this topic because this is something that we are experiencing a little bit ourselves and definitely hearing on the front lines of tech leaders. So every single day, we're doing so much AI work, and AI budgets they're there. Everybody wants to move, but the results aren't keeping pace. And it's not, like I said, it's not that the tools are good. I think adoption's the hard part. So you've spent 20 plus years helping businesses adopt technology through sales, marketing, digital transformation. What made you go all in on AI adoption specifically?
Well, a few things, but back in 2022, I was starting to build a sales development course. And after all my time in agencies, I've been selling large e-commerce websites, digital marketing, SEO, video, you name it. If it's some sort of creative content development, I've been at the front lines from selling, creating, and even building sometimes. So 2022, ChatGPT came out at the very end of the year, and it wasn't even very good then. It couldn't even access the internet. It was giving us old information. And still, I saw that this is going to change everything I've ever done. And I also saw that it's going to change how we work in general. And back in 2009, I helped small business owners move from selling on eBay to building e-commerce web stores and doing Google ads. And it was a little bit like that. I saw that we're going to have a lot more opportunity, and it's going to be a shift where if I jump in with both feet, I'm going to be able to get ahead and teach people. One of the things that I'm good at is breaking down things that can seem complex and scary and making them fun and exciting and easy to understand. So I just felt a calling really and have gone that direction. And, it's changing every single week. So it's been quite the roller coaster and very fun and exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I was sharing with you, I was at an event this past weekend, and it was all about AI and so much about there were so many sessions sort of focused on like companies have so many tools, but they are not getting real traction.
Mhm.
And, we were kind of talking about the AI maturity ladder. Prime AI was really blown away by those guys, Gus and
Yeah.
Joe. And that really was primarily what they're talking about, is that, people are not adopting in order to address real business constraints. It's just tools, tools, tools. And right now we're hearing on the front lines, IT leaders are getting pressure to go do AI, but the ROI isn't showing up in the way that leaders have hoped. So from what you're seeing, why is that happening?
Couple of reasons. Technology leaders are busy, right? They're trying to manage software technology, dealing with one-on-one demands from their clients and employees. And I've had so many people who are CTOs or the most technical person at the company say, I don't use AI like I should be because I'm so busy dealing with my day job, right?
Yeah.
But they are seen as this person who knows everything computers to everyone at the team. And so people just assume that they could lead these charges. So a lot of them are out there finding courses, or I know Accenture has put out a big corporate type training program. But the problem with courses is that they have a 5 to 15% completion rate,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know about you, but I'm on Zoom calls all day. I'm working with my clients. I have 2 little kids. I try to get outside, and the last thing I want to do is watch 2 hours of somebody talking to me on a video and
Yeah.
clicking a button to get a point, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the course system, it's failing. It's not a good way to learn anymore. So I think
Yeah.
that's what people are running into.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. And I mean, I feel like since COVID, since the lockdown, we've just all been at our desk, chained to our desks. That's the last thing we want to do, is watch another
Yeah.
video, join
Yeah.
another, exactly.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing across teams right now? Like, are people adopting AI or are they avoiding it?
That's the other thing I'm seeing. So I'll go into a team, whether it's 5 people or 500 people, and we do surveys to figure out where everybody is. What's the state of the state for AI in your company? And we're finding it's all over the place. And it's significant because you'll see people in the same role. Maybe you have a sales team, they're all doing the same thing. And one person is a little bit afraid to use AI. They've heard some things, they don't like it. It's something that it's not on their radar. They've been successful in the past without it, and they don't feel like they need it. Meanwhile, their colleague with the same job has created AI agents that are doing most of the work for her, and she's doubling her sales.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see someone in the middle who's kind of messing around with it, and they're not doing well because they're distracted, building things that aren't working. They don't have the training to do it the right way. So we're seeing this big divide on teams of who's adopted it and who hasn't, and then who's been trained on it to use it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a mess right now is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like there's two realities happening at once, where teams are experimenting and compounding learning fast. And that was one of the things that we saw in that AI maturity ladder, that, once you hit this level of maturity with adoption, and you're addressing business constraints, that compounding starts to take off, and then others are freezing. And then the gap is getting bigger and bigger every month. So what's going to happen to those people who aren't adopting?
Unfortunately, they're going to be replaced by people who are, because people who are on average right now, and it's not even building AI agents, but people with some level of knowledge who are trained are saving 7.5 hours per week. So that's a whole day a week that they're saving. So of course, we're just going to see that the people who are not adopting are not going to continue to excel in their role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. That's what we're seeing too. I think in the early days, it was AI is going to replace people, but that's not true. It's people who use AI are going to replace people who don't.
It's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And I think it was Microsoft's 2025 Work Trend Index. So it was a survey of 31,000 employees across 31 markets. Said 75% of knowledge workers are already using AI at work. So the question is like, is AI here? It is, but whether leaders are actually guiding adoption in the way that turns into ROI is the real question. And I know you've worked with teams inside organizations where leadership rolls out AI training, but it doesn't actually change behavior. So I want to talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Why does that happen? And why does bad AI training, like, what does bad AI training look like?
Yeah. Well, bad AI training is a lot of governance and restriction. So I've seen teams say, hey, you can only use Copilot and that's it. That's all you can use in this organization. While I understand they're trying to maybe secure their data or make it compliant in some way, the people are going to be experimenting with other AI tools, whether it's on their own computer or whether they can do it in a different browser. Or we're seeing that people with these rules and regulations are going outside of them no matter what and learning. And then they're not getting the specific training on those tools that they would need. So it gets a little bit messy. We're seeing also organizations are not addressing what we call an AI manifesto. So they're not building simple rules around how these LLMs should be communicating. So a simple document that you can share with your team that addresses the do's and don'ts of your tone, how you discuss certain products, pricing, your audience. There's ways to train these LLMs so that you don't have certain employees going rogue and maybe they're using ChatGPT for work, but maybe they're also in their personal life an astrologer. And so when they're creating content and they're not trained and they don't understand how their instance of ChatGPT is working, the content that they're creating for their company has this astrology background to it as well. And so you have to make sure that you're training people the right way to use these tools rather than saying you can just use this one thing. Yeah. The other reason things are failing is like I said, the course structure. People are rolling out, people are sick of just watching videos and clicking along. And what we're finding is that the live group training is the way to go. The other reason why is because AI is moving so fast. We all know that.
Yeah.
And a course that we
record on a training is just obsolete quickly. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The course you made last month is out of date this month. So it just doesn't make sense to sign people up to watch old content that isn't relevant anymore.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So you said something in our pre-call that I loved, and that was AI adoption is a personal journey. So I want to talk about that because I love that. And it was just a new framing for me, but you're absolutely right. So what do you mean by that?
Well, I had to reframe myself because when I first started JMAI, I was building courses. And then I was meeting the people who were taking the courses. And I realized that this is a change management situation. You have people who are terrified of this new technology. You have people who are on personal journeys adopting this new technology. It's emotional for them. It's scary for them. There's a lot of people who feel like just because they don't have the technology experience of others in their organization that they can't use this tool. And they don't understand that it's really just simply chatting. So yeah, I always say that learning AI is kind of like going to the gym, and it's a personal journey, meaning, we're all at different levels. When you get to that gym, you're either going to walk on the treadmill for a few minutes, or maybe you're going to go lift heavy weights, depending on where you're at in your fitness journey. So when you take AI training, it's maybe you're going to learn what prompting is, or maybe you're going to start out building an AI agent in some sort of automation system. So everyone's in a different place, and it's important to support your employees where they are.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that also explains why like the interactive live group training makes so much sense because
Mhm.
you can meet people where they are. It's interactive. And
Yep.
I would imagine that people in the group learn from one another too. Um,
Yeah.
but I love this because it gives people permission to be human again, right? In this age of AI, it's not that you're behind, it's that you're learning. And leaders need to create the space for learning, and people need to feel safe in that learning process. I think if leaders
Yeah.
shame people into AI adoption, you get compliance, but not real transformation. And that's something that, we're trying to be very, very aware of.
Yeah, exactly. It is something that people feel, politically driven by, emotionally
Mhm.
driven by. There's a lot of emotion behind AI training that I know I wasn't expecting until I was thrown into large groups and did one-on-one interviews, and it was really eye-opening for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's why that personal journey framing matters because
Mhm.
you know, companies don't struggle with AI because the tech fails. It really is the struggle because of people, processes, politics, all of that. So I
Yeah.
love what you're doing.
Yeah.
So what's really going on when people resist AI? Because we're definitely experiencing a little bit of this here. So this
Mhm.
is a little personal for
Sure.
some of the team that's been with us for a very long time. So
Mhm.
especially experienced leaders or tenured teams who already have a proven way of working.
Mhm.
So yeah, tell me
I've
what's going on there.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple different instances. So the first one would be the person who has been really successful. They're oftentimes, kind of in the end of their career at this point, like they're looking forward to retirement, maybe have 5 to 10 years left in whatever their career is. And there's been some resistance a lot in that category. However, once we end up doing some training on how AI could actually take the knowledge that they've gathered over the past 30, 40 years and actually help create training for their team and just reframe it that way, that's been an eye opener. And they've become more involved in a lot of ways
Mhm.
because they're seeing that it's not trying to change them and how they work. We're using their knowledge and everything that they've done to create a database for their team. And
Mhm.
so that's been really interesting. And then also just really hitting home that point that you already talked about, which is this is not here to replace you, it's here
Yeah.
to enhance you. And
Yeah.
showing these little bite sized things that get people excited. For instance, showing people how easy it is to take one of their blog posts that they wrote or that their company has and turning it into a podcast has been something that people love. Like we just use Notebook LM, it's super simple, and
Mhm.
they're just getting that wow moment and then they're in. So
Yeah.
that's that first instance. The
Yeah.
second that I've seen a lot of pushback from are people who are worried about the environmental impact of AI. And
Mhm.
that's been hard to address. One, because they're right, it does take a lot of resources.
Mhm.
But the other, what we've talked about is so does using Netflix and so does posting on Instagram and a lot
Yeah.
of other things. So, are there things in your life that you could do if this is somebody that you're talking to that it's a concern to be green in other ways to kind of make up for some of our use for AI or other digital content creation?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious, like what you're seeing in terms of, how much does fear play into resistance? Because I know for us, I think I am as a leader having to like ground people's identity. What I can see people thinking, if I don't understand
Mhm.
this, am I still valuable? And
Yeah.
it's taking more reassurance because the fear is creeping up. So I do think leaders need to name that out loud.
Mhm.
Shame kills transformation. So
Mhm.
can tell me what you're seeing there.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear and it's two parts. It's fear that they're going to replace because they're not going to get it, and
Hmm.
it's fear that they're not smart enough to understand it.
Hmm.
And both of those things are so easy to get over if you just show them how easy this technology is to use.
Yeah.
So give them access to a conference or show them a couple YouTube links of people using ChatGPT for the first time, and show them that fear of not being intelligent enough in this area, that's not really something to be afraid of. And then also give them the tools and show them the path of, hey, if you could create a couple custom GPTs that help you write your proposals, you're going to get a lot more bids out this month. Show them the path of where the AI will take them without overwhelming them with, 100 steps to get to build AI agents that they have to work with.
Yeah. And I saw something recently. It was an interview with Cisco's chief people officer, where she said that the worst thing companies can do is use AI to save time and then just pile more work on employees, which makes sense. Adoption dies when people feel AI just turns into more pressure. So is that something that you're seeing?
Not so much so far. What I've been seeing is, and what I've been teaching is, let's save that 7.5 hours per week. And let's be more human. Let's do more coffee meetings. Let's meet our clients in person. Let's go do a workout class together. Like, let's go on a walk outside. So that's been something that I really push for my employees and my audiences. And the other thing is, it gives you time to work on your business rather than in your business for a minute and take a breath.
Yeah. So I love that. The more human side, and I think those are the things that I definitely look forward to getting back time for. Talk to me about the habit side of adoption. So you did compare it to a gym membership, which I love that. It makes so much sense. But what does an actual adoption rhythm look like for a busy leader or team?
Yeah. So we say that you have to do 15 minutes a day, even on the weekends. Just keep learning and also get in there and experiment 15 minutes a day, every day. We actually created a platform called the AI Gym. So people log in every day. It's a 15-minute challenge tops. You get a lesson about whatever the tool is that day. You get a challenge of how you could possibly use it in your business. And then there's an apply it button where there's prompts or actual tools inside the platform to try that thing. And what it does is it really just changes your psychology around the tasks you have, because we're so used to, okay, I'm going to meet with a client and I have to make a proposal. So we're so used to those steps that we've already done. We have to retrain our brains on, oh, I could use AI for that now. And so just making sure that you put in that time every single day has worked wonders, because we're finding the people who are actually learning with us, they love it. They love learning. They love the live training. But when I'll make a post like, hey, have you guys made one of these? Have you tried this? They weren't. And so that's why I made up AI Gym, to actually get people to execute on the things they just learned.
I love that. I love that habit building. And, I also love it because it takes the pressure off. So you don't have to transform overnight. You don't have to learn it all at once. You just have to build a rhythm, and you just need your teams to develop a habit. And, the truth is, it is changing so fast. So you kind of have to be on it every day, because every day I'm learning a new way to use AI to make my life easier, to, make business smoother, to learn more. So yeah, I love that. This just came to mind. I think we were talking about it earlier. It was probably the previous question, but, talking about fears of employees adopting AI and being replaced by AI. One thing that, I think leaders really could look at is, like, I love that, doing more human things, getting more time back in your day. And, another thing that we're looking at is, how do we move our employees to like a 4-day work week, because we have agents taking on part of the workload. So can they, be happier at work, have less pressure on them at work? So I'm just curious, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I love that. That's amazing. I've heard a couple other leaders talk about that. If there is this time, what do they actually do? And I think we're at the point where the data is 7.5 hours. So an additional day off makes sense. What about when we get to the point where maybe we're saving 3 days of their time.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do then? And
Yeah.
that turns into a larger conversation, of course. But
Mhm.
what I think is going to happen, just from what I've been building and experimenting, is a lot of our employees are going to manage AI agents.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going to take up
That is,
a lot of their time. Mm-hmm.
yes, that is, I mean, you're always going to need a human in the loop. And like
Mm-hmm.
we've got a big push for agentic this year.
Yeah.
And so that's the question that's been on my team's mind because I've got 20-year veterans doing this work. Of course, I want to train AI on, like, it's impossible to scale with humans, so we can scale with AI, which is really exciting for the first time.
Yeah.
And then the question is, well, what am I going to do? And so we built an org chart that showed, like, this is where we're headed, and you're managing a team of agents, and you are the human in the loop.
Did you hear about the open claw situation that
Yes.
happened last week? So yeah, just a
Yeah.
good idea to have a human in the loop, especially as new technology is coming out. I
Yeah.
saw one of the agents spent $15,000 of somebody's money
Yeah.
overnight while they were sleeping because they
Yeah.
just kind of let it loose and didn't have training and didn't have anyone watching it. So
I know it can go rogue in a heartbeat. So it's so
yes,
important that there's a human in the loop. But yeah,
yes.
I agree. It's going to make our jobs easier. And I think um, more fun too, like more
Mhm.
engaging.
Well, and you said something, you can grow with agents, and I think that's true. And I think the other thing we're going to see is a lot more businesses being created. People are going to
Mhm.
have the ability to create businesses easier than ever.
Yeah.
The statistic I just saw was 97 million jobs were created by AI in 2025.
Wow.
So you can just imagine now, you have employees who are learning AI with you, and that's
Mhm.
amazing that you can provide that to them. But
Mhm.
at some point, they may learn so much that they want to go start their passion project or
Yeah.
grow their
Incredible.
business. And
Yeah.
so I think we'll see a lot more of that as well.
Yeah. I think there's huge opportunity right now.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to shift a little bit into talking about what IT leaders are up against. So if you were
Mhm.
advising a CIO or CTO and they wanted to drive real adoption in the next 30 days, what's the playbook? Where do they start?
The playbook is first doing that lay of the land and
Mhm.
finding out where your employees are and how they feel about transitioning into using AI, and also discovering who's using what tool and how they're using it already. I
Mhm.
think that's the very first step. And then once you discover that, you need to figure out kind of a AI blueprint for your company to get from where you are now to where you want to be.
Mhm.
Defining where you want to be is what AI consultants like myself do. So if that's not something in your realm, there's lots of amazing AI consultants that help you do exactly that. On top of that, outside of the business's goals, I think it's really important to address everyone's personal AI journey. And I have a community where we have people learning live. We have 3 to 5 live trainings every week.
Mhm.
And I have over 20 different AI consultants that present. I think another thing, just talking about fear and, people's resistance, is who they're learning from and the learning
Mhm.
style. So, I have a trainer who is a 72-year-old man who presents from a Zoom background that's a floating spaceship.
I
And
love that.
honestly, he is probably everyone's favorite at this point.
Yeah.
I think I'm at second place now. Um, and then I have a very professional suit and tie automator that shows up.
Mhm.
So having these different personalities and having live training and also giving people access to fundamental on-demand training that they
Mhm.
need, because if you have that person who has never opened an LLM before, we need to provide them with that training as well. So
Yeah.
there is that evergreen training that can be on demand, but
Mhm.
the live training and the community is where it's at to stay up to date on what's new and to continue your learning journey.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could not agree more with that. Like we are very AI forward. We've got a really AI forward CTO and tech team, and we're
Mhm.
in AI masterminds just to make sure that we are right on the cutting edge of everything
Yeah.
because it's changing so fast. It's moving so quickly every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think community is so important.
I saw a study that Harvard did that people are 16 times more likely to complete training if they do it together in a group.
Yeah, I believe
And
that.
and so even if your company can't afford a mastermind or a group, give each other accountability partners
Yeah,
and have each other keep each other accountable every week. What did you do for 15 minutes a day this week? How did you learn AI? And
I love that.
that's going to help tremendously.
Yeah. So, how should tech leaders measure adoption in a way that ties back to ROI? Like, what signals tell you it's actually working, that they're getting adoption, and what are the warning signs that it's not?
Yeah. Well, that will vary from business to business, but what we're looking at mostly are sales at this point when we're
Hmm.
working with our teams
Hmm.
and the number of estimates that go out per week, the number of deals that are closed. That's what's
Yeah,
showing an ROI for the teams that I've been working with. It comes down to dollars for most
yeah,
business owners, and that's what they're looking at the most is sales.
hmm,
And I guess when you're asking how it's not working, again, are you getting less bids out? Are you not seeing your employees hit certain targets? And we're actually seeing that a lot. And I'm glad you brought that up because people can get lost in this AI stuff. There's
yeah,
so many glittery things that they can waste so much time on. And they may think that they're discovering the next best thing for your business, and 10% chance they might be, but 90% chance is they're going to waste the next hour signing up for something, trying it out, realizing it doesn't work that great, and then trying to get their subscription ended.
yeah,
And we're seeing a lot of that. And so another thing, we're building our AI dashboards for people to actually have their teams track their subscriptions if they don't have that already. Also, a place to share prompts and tools that are working well for the organization.
yeah.
So, building something like that will really help your ROI, but also help not waste time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, that's where community is important because you can learn, what tools are working for what people and save yourself the trial and error.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think it really does all point back to surrounding yourself with a community that is,
Mhm.
on the journey. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
so
surprising how much I'm learning from the community of
yeah,
just the people that are joining. Yesterday, I use Manus mostly
mhm.
for my LLM. Yesterday, somebody posted this prompt that'll save you like 500 credits every day. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
wow,
I didn't know about
amazing.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the IT leader, the tech leader who's listening, who feels behind or overwhelmed, what's the one thing you want them to do this week to start to build momentum?
If they're feeling behind personally, I would say take that 10 to 15 minutes and learn a new tool that you've heard is great. If you don't know of one, I would suggest Manus. It's the
Mhm.
greatest tool out there right now, I believe. So I would suggest start there. If you're not sure where to start with your team, I would suggest building that survey, getting that together, whether it's an email you send out or you have some sort of survey software for your company. Put that together and just start getting information and start seeing how your team is feeling about it. You're going to be very surprised. A lot of them are probably way more advanced than you think. And you're going to be also surprised at the few who have not logged into an LLM yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is shocking.
Yeah.
And, it is so important that leaders understand that if we ignore adoption with our teams, we're all going to get left behind. The
Mhm.
future really does belong to the teams who are learning fast together,
Yeah.
learning fast and failing fast and moving on. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think Robyn, this conversation was so needed. I really appreciate you bringing this lens to the conversation because you're framing it in a way I haven't heard. And I think it's going to be so helpful for people listening. Really was powerful conversation. So thank you for bringing so much clarity to something I know that leaders are sort of quietly struggling with right now.
Yeah.
And I want to underline the big takeaway because buying AI doesn't create ROI. Adoption does. Tools don't change companies. People do. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of is tool overload and overwhelm. So if you're listening and you're leading AI inside your organization, I hope this episode gave you both permission and a playbook. And start small. I love the 15 minutes. I love the gym analogy. Build the habit, normalize the learning, and lead the human side of transformation. And if you want to connect with Robyn, head to technologymatch.com. Just type in AI training or Jam AI, and you'll be connected to Robyn in our marketplace. And if you want help finding the right partners to support your AI roadmap, all of that's in there as well. I am also going to list Robyn's website and LinkedIn in the show notes. You can reach out directly. Thank you so much, Robyn. This was amazing. And what I love about it is it's so actionable. Like people can walk away from this and go build the habit right now.
Yeah. Build the habits, focus on the people, and you're going to do all right. So thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.